Let's talk about overthinking. You know, that mental spiral that can take a tiny little worry and blow it up into a full-blown catastrophe inside your own head. It is exhausting, it can be totally paralyzing, but here's the really good news. It's a habit, and just like any other habit, you can absolutely break it. So let's dive in and figure out how to snap that cycle and get our mental peace back. I mean, you know this feeling, right? You're trying to fall asleep, maybe you're trying to focus on work, but your brain is just off to the races, replaying conversations, stressing about the future, analyzing every single little detail. It's something we all go through, and today we're going to learn how to gently get that hamster off the wheel for a little break. All right, so to fix a problem, you first have to understand the problem. So let's start right there. Let's define what this overthinking loop actually is and, why it feels like we're stuck in quicksand when it happens. Okay, pay close attention to the last part of that sentence, without ever moving toward a solution. That is everything. See, thinking about a problem to solve it, that's useful, that's productive. But just hitting replay on the problem over and over and over again, that's not problem solving, that's rumination. It is the definition of analysis paralysis. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. Look at the left side. Productive thinking. It's all about solutions, it's about action, it feels like you're building something. You learn from the past and move on. But then you look at the right side. Destructive overthinking. That's all about getting fixated on the problem itself, which leads to doing nothing at all. It's draining and you're not learning from the past, you're just reliving it. The first big step is just figuring out which column you're in at any given moment. So why on earth do our brains do this to us? Well, it's not some kind of personal flaw. It's actually a pretty standard response to certain psychological triggers. You could almost say it's a feature, not a bug, of how we're wired. Let's take a look at some of the usual suspects. Do any of these ring a bell? Perfectionism, that little voice that tells you the absolute perfect answer is out there if you just think for another few hours. Anxiety, which keeps our brains on high alert for danger, which was great when we were avoiding saber-toothed tigers, but not so helpful when we're just trying to figure out what to text back. And of course, the fear of making the wrong choice, which is so paralyzing we end up making no choice at all. All of these are just perfect recipes for getting stuck in our own heads. Okay, so we get the what and we get the why. Now let's get to the how. How do we actually stop it? Well, the most powerful tool you have is actually the simplest one. It's what I like to call the awareness switch. This is where the real change starts to happen. It really is this simple, just a two-step process. First, you just have to notice it's happening. You start to feel that mental exhaustion. You realize you've been chewing on the same thought for the 10th time. That's your cue. Then, step two, you just label it. Seriously, just say it in your head. Oh, okay, this is overthinking. The moment you do that, you create a little bit of distance. You're no longer in the thought storm, you're watching the storm. And that is the first step to walking right out of it. So once you've flipped that awareness switch and you know what's going on, you need a few practical tools to actually redirect your brain. So think of this next part as your own personal toolkit for breaking the cycle and getting a little bit of that mental clarity back. Here are 3 amazing strategies. First up, the worry timer. This is honestly genius because you're not trying to stop the worry, you're just containing it. You literally set a timer for, say, 10 minutes, and you let yourself worry as much as you want. But when that timer dings, you're done. You move on. Second, mindfulness. This is all about yanking your brain out of the what-ifs and grounding it in the right now. Focus on your breath. What do you actually see and hear and feel in this moment? It breaks the spell. And third, this might be my favorite, take one small step. Overthinking loves giant, scary problems, so you fight back by focusing on one tiny, single, actionable step. Just opening the email, just writing one sentence. It breaks the paralysis and proves to your brain that you can move forward. And this is so important to remember. This whole thing isn't about trying to achieve a completely empty mind or to never have a worried thought again. That's not realistic. It's about taking back control. It's about making sure your thoughts are a tool that helps you, not a cage that traps you. Thinking is your superpower. You just can't let it become your kryptonite. So I'll leave you with this one question, a little challenge. What is one decision you can make right now without letting yourself get lost in the weeds? It doesn't have to be life-changing. Maybe it's just deciding what to have for dinner, or finally replying to that one text, or just choosing to get up and go for a 5-minute walk. Pick something, make the choice, and just move forward. That's it. That's how you start building that muscle of action over analysis.